So there's 5 tools that I always use inside of ON1 Photo RAW whenever I'm editing photos. Today, I'm going to take you on a journey editing the photo using these 5 tools. Now, if you find ON1 Photo RAW attractive and you want to pick up a copy, you can save a little money by using my affiliate code, FreeWillPhotos20 at checkout. It's going to save you 20% and I make a small commission. And I thank everyone who uses that coupon code. Now, let's go ahead and dive into the photo and take a look at how this is going to work out. So the very first tool that I always use is Brilliance AI. This is a feature that is here in ON1 Photo RAW 2024 and beyond. So I've already applied it and I did tune this to my own liking. This is a tool that allows essentially AI to look at the photo and say, hey, this is how I want you to modify the tone and color filters down here underneath tone and color. All right. If I turn this off, you'll see that these revert back to their original status. And if I turn it back on, then you'll see that I have all of these tools kind of modified for me. Now, it's not perfect, but that's why it's a tool that helps me jumpstart my creative flow, gets the ideas out. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and push up on the exposure a little bit, open up some of the shadows because I do want this to be a little bit brighter, maybe even push the midtones up a little bit. And I'll pull back on the highlights just a touch. And just like that, before and after, I already have a great starting point by using Brilliance AI. All right. Now, if you want to see how I actually tuned this to get the photos pretty much where I like them to be, minus a few tweaks, then check the description box below because I do have a video down there that will take you through all of that. So the second tool that I always use is masking. And what you can see on the screen is a properties pane. I use the AI masking very seldomly, but I'll still go over it because it is something that I do use from time to time. In order to access it, I can click over here where it says Mask AI, click the drop down, and I have a few options for this particular image. The first section is going to say if I want this to go over the entire image, then it's just going to select the entire image. But if I hover over this, what you'll see is I get a red overlay. And this red overlay is telling ON1 that I want to apply whatever adjustment in this area. All right. If I hover over foreground, you can see it doesn't really select much. And every image is going to vary. Foreground and background, these are kind of what I would say all-inclusive masking filters. But then we have more specific things, and based off of what the AI is reading inside of your photo, it's going to give you a few options. And everywhere that you see red, it's thinking that this is architecture. And then we have some man-made ground, and then it's got some flora, which is going to be the flower in this particular image. And then of course there's the sky. Now, your mileage is going to vary, and this is why I said I very seldomly use the AI masking. It's not that it's terrible, it's just that I find it way more relaxing and enjoyable to mask it in manually myself. Now, I have some other options here, but I'm not going to go over all of these because this isn't a masking tutorial. If you got questions about masking, then drop it down in the comment section below, and I'll be more than happy to help answer whatever questions I can and even make a video if it's something that really does need that. Now, the reason why I use masking, and for those of you who may not be familiar if you didn't understand, it allows me to apply an adjustment to a very specific area of the image. Now, one of the main masking things that I do, I'm going to share one of my tricks here, is I like to create vignettes. So I'm going to go ahead and pull down on the exposure on this local adjustment. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to actually come up to the top, select my masking bug, and I'm going to go with the gradient mask. Now, if you're not familiar with these types of masks, that's okay. Maybe I will actually do a video on that, but I'm going to select center and it didn't select center. So I'm going to select center and then at some point, there we go. Okay, maybe not. We're going to go with edges, and then I'm just going to invert it. There. It's all the same. Okay. And then I'm just going to drag this down, move this over, and pull this out. So now I have a vignette on my image. So if I were to turn this off and turn it back on, you can see what it's doing to the image. So the third tool that I use is the local adjustment tool. I use this in combination with the Super Select AI tool. Earlier, I showed you that the AI tool, it kind of worked, but it didn't quite grab all of the edges that I needed in my image. Well, the Super Select AI tool is way more refined, and it allows you to get more granular with your selection. So I'm going to hit the letter K on my keyboard. This is going to activate the Super Select tool, and I'm just going to come back over to local adjustment. And what I'm going to do is click and drag a box right over the flower and select it. I'm going to let that go, and you can see what it's doing here as far as selecting the flower, and it's going to allow me to select the entire flower if I just hover over there for a little bit and allow it to think through and click. So now what I can do is come up to the top and click on adjustment, and I can add that mask. So by default, whenever you add an adjustment, it always puts a negative exposure, but I'm just going to go ahead and pull the exposure up just a little bit, push up on the midtones and open up the shadows, pull down on the blacks just a little bit. And I'm going to just pull down the opacity here and turn this off and on. And I think that that looks pretty good. I think I will also come over here and push the vibrance. Now, I have a lot of capability with the local adjustment. As you've seen, I was able to modify exposure and really put it into one area. The difference and the reason why I use local adjustment versus the develop is because the develop does not have the masking, which was the second tool that I use. It doesn't have a masking feature. However, the local tool does have the capability to mask, which is why I was able to put that just on the flower. Now, if you're curious about how you can use local adjustments to modify your images, I have a video down in the description box below showing how I modified an entire image using only the local adjustments. Hey, if you're finding value in the content, do me a favor, smash the like button so it tells YouTube that this is a good video to recommend in the algorithm. And if you're new here, my name's Chris. I make content centered around ON1 Photo RAW and other photo editing applications. So go ahead and smash that subscribe button. If you got questions, leave it down in the comment section. And for those of you who do use ON1, let me know what your favorite tool is inside of ON1 Photo RAW. Now, let's get back into the video. So my fourth favorite tool is actually the curves filter. So we're going to go over here to effects, add filter, and we are going to add in a curves filter. Now, I made a video all about how I use the curves filter. Today, I'm actually going to use it in a slightly different way. What I want to do is actually make this photo a little bit more flat. So I'm just going to pull up on the blacks here. And what that does is it's changing the black point in the image. I don't want to be technical because that's not what this video is about. If you got questions about the curves, just drop it in the comment section. And then what I'm going to do is just go ahead and create a slight curve, not a curve, to bring back a little bit of the information and the contrast in the overall image. And then what I'm going to do is something that's kind of a power tool or power tip, but you know, take it as you will. So if I click on the little mask icon here, I get my properties box that hovers over here. This is just how I have Photo RAW set up. I'm going to come over to blend mode, and I'm actually going to change this over to soft light. And what you see is that's going to make it like really, really punchy and contrasty. So maybe I want to go with one of these lighter ones. I don't like screen, don't like lighting. All right, I'm gonna go with soft light. Boom. So now what I'll do is just pull down on the opacity of this until I get a look that is a little bit more punchy and contrasty, but not over the top crazy. All right. Now, the other thing that you can do with the curves filter, and one of the things that I enjoy doing with the curves filter, is kind of doing a color grade. So if I come over to the, we'll come over to the blues. If I want to warm this up in the shadow tones, what I could do is just pull down, and it's adding in some yellow. Now, I am using the blend mode of soft light, which is more of a contrast based type of blend mode. So if I come back over here and go to normal, you can really see how much yellow is going into those deeper, darker colors. And I can even bring in a little bit of yellow into the highlights. If I turn this off and turn it back on, you can see I'm just kind of changing the mood of the image. And that's the value of using the curves filter. It's one of the things that I really enjoy doing. And I have this on a low opacity, so if I were to pull this up, you could really see it kind of punch through. And in fact, I think I like this a little bit more than using the soft light. So I'll just come back to the all, and we'll make the contrast a little less obvious. Maybe something like this. Yeah, I think we'll go with that. All right, if I turn this off and turn it back on, then we are good to go. So now we made it to tool number 5, and that is the color enhancer. Now, one of the questions that I get asked often is, which tool should I use inside of ON1, the color enhancer or the color adjustment? And I think the answer most of the time is you want to use the color enhancer. So the follow-on question that I get is, well, why does the color enhancer and the color adjustment tool exist if they're the same tool, but the color enhancer is better because it has more features? And the only logical conclusion that I can come to is, if you have old presets that are using the color adjustment before the color enhancer tool was added to the software, it would break those presets. So essentially, color enhancer is the go-to from now on until something else comes out. But that's my theory on why the color enhancer and the color adjustment tool exist inside of ON1. Let me know what you think about that in the comments section, for those of you who have been using ON1 for quite some time. But now that we have the color enhancer tool on this image, what I really like to do with this is just modify the vibrance and the saturation. But what's cool about this is, if I say, you know what, I really want to push the saturation, but I want to pull the purples down. So let's just go ahead and pull the purples down. Now I'm really modifying the way that this image looks. And I'm not saying that this looks great. All right. But let's go ahead and maybe we'll push the brightness just a little bit. And I think that local adjustment is really not doing us any favors right now. Yeah, this looks much better with the local adjustment maybe turned down. Yeah, we'll just turn you down a little bit there. Local adjustment. All right. Now, if you just bear with me, I'm going to reset the color enhancer. And one of the things that you can also do with the color enhancer as well as the color adjustment is you can select the color that you want to work on by using this eyedropper tool. So I'm going to go ahead and click on adjust saturation. I'm going to grab the eye picker tool. I'm just going to hover over this area and drag left and right. And you can see it just selected the purple hues. And this is a really powerful way of modifying the colors in your images without having to guess what color range it's actually sitting in. If you got questions about the color enhancer, then let me know down in the comment section and I'll do my best to answer those or make content centered around it. Now, the last thing that I think I'll do with this particular color enhancer is pull down on the saturation just a little bit to kind of mute the colors overall in the image. And I think that this works pretty well. I'll leave it at that. Maybe come over to the greens and push those. Looking at the stem and the background, that's why I went ahead and pulled the brightness down. So those are the 5 tools that I use inside of ON1 Photo RAW whenever I'm working with an image. I'd love to hear what tools you are using. If you're new here and you want to save some money over at the ON1 website whenever you check out, then consider using the coupon code FreeWillPhotos20. It's going to save you 20% at checkout, and I do make a small commission, and I greatly appreciate everyone who uses that code. If you got questions, let me know down in the comment section. And until the next time, I want you guys to stay inspired and keep creating. Peace.